hot flashes, night sweats, mood changes.
Okay, welcome back. It's still Rappy Dawn. Hope you had a great time on Sports with Ivale Ju and, of course, Eastern Circle with Michael and Daisy. I am back as I promised, and we've specially created something to make your Thursday morning interesting. You thought that I'm going to forget that we're in the holy season. Of course, the Easter celebration is coming so fast. By Friday, whew, which is tomorrow, it would be what all of us Christians we love so much. But for today is also a holy day as well. It's a holy Thursday, and it's being recognized as you could, if you followed Eastern Circle earlier on, you could see that everything about the Holy Thursday was shared to you. And this morning, now for some persons, they believe that when we talk about Easter celebration, the death of Christ, the resurrection of Christ is only for the older people, it's only for the elderly. What if I told you that our kids, our teenagers, our preteens, they also need to understand the concept of the death and resurrection of Christ as well. And that is why an amazing woman took it upon herself to let these our teenagers know that they need to understand what of Christ is all about in her Easter camp celebration that happens every year. And this morning I have Bill Event with us. I won't just call her Bill Events because it will be too easy, okay? You know her as Bill Events, but let me call the name that you probably don't know. So we have Mrs. Ugo Onwuka of Bill Event, a renowned event planner in Nigeria, not only in the FCT, in Nigeria, and also an amazing woman who is doing so well to make sure that our teenagers follow through the path of God. It's so great to have you on the show this beautiful morning.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, and I really appreciate Rapid TV for indulging me and bringing me here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Our conversation this morning is going to be on raising godly teens.
And preteens.
Yeah, and preteens. You know, that is something that a lot of people don't really pay attention. Just say, okay, train up a child in the way it should go when it's old, but there's more to it. I'm sure you agree with me.
Yeah.
But first of all, from an adult point of view, what is Easter to you?
Easter is more like a resurrection of Christ, you know, a rebirth, you know, and a personal encounter with Christ. You know, we've already know that Christ died for us and all of that. We saw what God went through, what Jesus went through for us, you know. So it's more like a reflection, you know. It's a season of hope, a season of giving. It's a season of love, you know, reconnecting back to Christ, you know. So that is basically what Easter is about. You know.
Okay, having established that, let's now see how we can, you know, carry our children along.
Yeah.
Especially those who are of teen and preteen age. For some who don't know, let's first of all identify those who are of teenage age and those who are preteen. At what point you say your child is preteen?
Okay, for preteens, basically preteens are supposed to be from 10-year-old to the age of 12, right? And then the teenagers from 13 to 19. But 18 to 19, they call them like adults. Do you understand? But I still feel they are teens, you know. You know, but the Bible even says, train up a child in the way he will go, and so that when he grows, he will not depart from it. So those are teens, preteens and teens. Age 11 to 18, teens and preteens, that's what I call
so
them.
we're taking out 19.
No, 19 are full grown adults.
But they still have teens.
Yeah, they still have teens, but I mean, they're a bit matured. But I mean, I think from 18 to 11 or to 10 is actually the preteens, and that's my catch. That is what God told me to focus on this year.
Okay.
Yes.
It's always amazing when the word comes and you follow it. A lot of people get this word and they're like, ugh, oh God, it's very stressful.
Yeah.
But having to say, okay, I'm going to follow that which has been given unto me. I will be very honest. Some people say it's so difficult to carry along the teens.
Yeah.
Because at that age, they are in their exploring years. They want to try out so many things. And then there is you who now want them to follow a particular path where they can explore heaven and everywhere. As a parent, how do you balance it? Because I'm sure lots of parents are like, okay, Madam Biu, I like this part you are talking about, so, but my pikin get coconut head. So how do you, as a parent, how do you balance
it,
pushing your child towards this?
Yeah, you have to have a closer relationship with your child, and you know you have to make prayer and Bible study very important. Like for me, in my home, we have this devotional time. We have a prayer altar where I gather, my husband and I, we gather the children to, getting into the word, digging deep into the word. You encourage them to study the Bible, to pray, because this thing, no matter the rules and whatever you have, you have to just pray and ask God that these children will find God for themselves. It's very, very important. You don't just, oh, okay, they know they have rules. They know that when they wake up in the morning, they have to read the Bible, they have to pray. So what we do, we always have, every night we have like a devotion where we share things from the Bible, where we talk about Christ and all of that. And with this, when you start with this foundation, by the time they've grown and all of that, they won't need to. They know that this is just a basic way of life. Before you know, they've encountered Christ for themselves. They've gotten a deep connection with God. They know that it's important that I find God for myself. Because we are in a world where social media has made it so, there's this negative vibe. I mean, social media has a positive and it has a negative vibe. But there's this vibe that makes teens and preteens, they're so anxious. You know, the media and all of that. It's not like back in our own time that we're not exposed to this kind of thing. So what we are trying to build in the camp is a real connection with real life situation where you come and you get to know about Christ, you get to know about that you can serve God, and you can, because for me, I teach my children to put God at the center of it all. Everything you do, let Christ be the center. That's it.
Okay. I still have a question to ask regarding to that, because a lot of times when I talk to parents, you say, we did go church, we study the Bible. There's something you said, train up a child in the way he should go. When they're old, they will not depart from it. I will need you to speak to parents who are feeling like, I did all of that. I took them to all the prayer meetings I know how to. I pushed them and directed them towards the God way. How did they get here?
Yeah.
And sometimes parents begin to blame themselves that they did not do enough. Yeah. They begin to feel this sort of regret, like I wasn't a good parent. In fact, I was looking at a story on social media 2 days ago, and you know how people make comments without a conscience online, and one said, I blame her parent. Yeah. And then in my head, some part of me was like, what if the parent did all of this and this child still turned this way? Yeah. How do you speak to a parent like that?
Yeah, for these teens and these preteens, this age, they just feel like they shouldn't be corrected. They could do one thing, and for some parents, they feel it's okay. But at that, you have to get the foundation right. Because if you don't get it right now, at the now, trust me, by the time they are older, if a child lies or brings something that doesn't belong to the child, you know that you didn't buy this thing. As parents, you have to be intentional. You have to correct it. If they tell a lie, you tell them the essence. That's why parents need to be grounded in the word, because you have the Bible in you. If you study, everything is there. The Bible says, children, obey your parents so that your days will be long. You have to keep telling them biblical principles and consequences of the things they do. And another thing, they need to choose their friends wisely.
Very important.
You don't have to be friends with everybody, because association has a way of affecting the children, affecting every one of them. You need to know their friends, know their parents, know their background. Don't leave those things to chance. Or, like this age where they do sleepover and all of that. You see parents, I'm telling myself, you don't know the family that you're sending your child to. Do you understand? So this is, for parents, you need to keep talking to your child. Like me, the way I talk and I play with my children, you're thinking we are mates, but there's time for seriousness. There's time to be very intentional. And everything you need to train up your child is in the Bible. The Bible principles. You need to tell your child the difference between this and wrong. And in the process of choosing friends, you make friends with people that push you to the top, people of like minds, people, serious-minded people. You tell your children, don't make friends with non-entities, in school, you see some people distracted with, this, going to club, going to this, having girlfriends, all of that. So as parents, you have to be intentional. You have to take the bull by the horn. You need to talk to your teens. You need to talk to your children. Let them be open enough to be able to tell you their problems.
Okay, let's now talk about this very amazing event that you're putting together. I do know I still have some questions regarding to, you know, the Raising Godly Teens and what parents can do. And you see this thing you mentioned about sleepovers. I'm going to tell you a very short, something happened last week. So I was on the social space, and I mean, a man made a post and he said, in everything you do, never you allow your kids go for sleepovers.
Yes.
And at first, I was
don't
like,
do sleepover.
I was like, bro, why are you spoiling the market? But when I went through the thread, the comments, I realized why they said don't go for. So you can go for sleepovers with parents, grandparents, people you know, uncles, but not friends.
Even grandparents and all of that, you need to be sure of the family. You need to because the grandparents might have people from different backgrounds in the house. You need to be sure that the home is safe. So I don't even encourage sleepovers.
And how do your kids react to that when you say no sleepovers?
They know their parents. Even if it's not me, they know their dad. Daddy wouldn't even let them sleep over. But except if it's very tight family and, you know, good friends. But we don't do sleepover, I think.
Okay, let's now talk about this very amazing event that you're putting together. I mean, the Easter camp.
I know. It's
what,
so
what edition is this now?
This is the 3rd edition. And this is the first one we're having for pre-teens and teens. You know, I struggled with it so much because, you know, I'm so used to the first 2 editions was about the 4-year-old to 10-year-old, you know, and it was something that I had to obey God. So God told me it has to be the preteens and the teens, and I just felt like they are the ones that need it for the now because they are our future. It's not like the younger ones are not our future, but if you get it right with these ones, trust me, their life will never be the same. So I struggled with it. Even when I put it up, we had the parents of the younger kids saying, no, Bill, this is not fair. Because the last edition we had, a lot of parents told me how their children were telling them about how could they hurt Jesus like that? You mean they hate him so much like that? You know, Jesus loves us so much that he did that. So that was so beautiful. Saying, like a parent told me, I don't even have time to teach my children, you know, Bible principles, but that camp was so beautiful. But I just feel like the teens these days, they need it more. You know, it's gone beyond what you see in the media. You know, this age where you open social media, there's so many negative vibes. It makes some of these children, they lose their self-worth. It makes them, they don't even believe in God. Some of them don't even believe in God because of maybe the background they came from. You see, not all families are actually prayerful. I've got a couple of parents that told me, this thing you're doing, it's amazing. Like, this is really going to teach my child, you know. So what we're trying to do in this Easter camp is to bring them to real life, you know, where you can encounter Jesus for yourself. Because the Bible said, what's it called? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and every other thing. I want these teens, these children, to encounter Jesus for themselves. It's not just the rule that your parents have told you. Come and network with, come and see other people. Because even my volunteers, funny enough, they are adults from 20 to 25. These are people that are serving God and doing so well, you know, and they have put God at the center of it all. The God first mentality. So, so I was struggling with it, and I realized that these things are the ones that need it the most. So I want a community where we're going to have fun, you know, faith-based, and just enjoy God's presence.
Okay, are we expecting? I mean, I was there last year.
Yeah.
I enjoyed. I could see some kids, you know, don't beat Jesus. I saw a child who was tearing.
Crying.
I'm like,
it was so emotional.
Do you really understand what you're watching, or it's just the pain you're seeing that you feel like a human is? So this is where our parents come in. Your child feels this emotion. He or she does not exactly understand what the emotion is for. He just knows that somebody is being hurt.
Yeah.
This is the time for you to step up and say, okay, you know why this person was being hurt? Because he was dying for you.
Yeah, he died for you.
You know, and all of that. We'll touch more on that. Let's talk about your volunteers. I mean, I could see, I went through their profiles, and 21, 23,
Honestly.
25, you know, doing amazing, 22. How did you select these people?
Honestly.
Do you have like a network of these people and say, okay, I'll just take from here to come, educate and edify the teenagers we have for this year?
Honestly, I don't have a team of people. A lot of you're the second person asking me that, actually. I think what I do in my social media, I identify a lot with children and teens. I have a passion for children and teens. So when I put this up, I had young people in my local church. I had one of them say, "Oh, Bill, I would like to volunteer. I want to pour out my all." Before you know, I started getting DMs, and in fact, one even sent my after I've gotten enough volunteers, one even sent my assistant a message that, "Oh, I want to volunteer. I like what this woman is doing." I think I just resonate more with the young people. And the volunteers have been amazing. These are young people doing exploit for Christ. These are young people changing the narrative. They are centered. Their focus is on God. When I say God first mentality, and they are doing so well in their field. You see a young, like one of our volunteers, he's, I think, 23, and he owns like a big company, real estate. Yeah, he just launched it recently. And, and these young people are using the social media platform to edify Christ, to make people to come to know Christ. So as soon as I posted, I started getting DMs from other volunteers, people, because Bio Event already has like a wide network. So when we post, before people are spreading the gospel and telling people about Bio Event, So for me, like, my business is God's business. So I make my business God business. If you don't like Jesus, I'm sorry, you can't do business with me, because everything about me, apart from my events and all of that, I always make Jesus the center of it all. So these young people, and you're seeing this old lady in a young vibe. So they kind of pretty much resonate with my style, the way I serve God and all of that. So it's beautiful to have these facilitators and volunteers. Honestly, it's been amazing. The support has been overwhelming.
It's so great to know. And just to also let you guys know that Rapid TV is also going to be there. I will be there. So you want to come and have fun with it. If you are a teenager, are adults allowed?
No mommy's allowed.
So that I can't even invite them.
No.
But don't worry, we'll give you, when we are back from, edifying ourselves and renewing our minds, when we are back, on Wednesday, we'll give you all of the highlights right here on the show of how it went down and how impactful it was in the life of these teenagers. And we do expect that it's going to go further. Now, let's not talk about post-event. Sometimes some might want to say, okay, it's not just about having them one-off and then wait for another Easter, to have this kind of event and bring them together. What are the measures you put in place for after the event? Is there like a follow-up team to maybe like a prayer meeting at intervals, maybe once a month or twice a month? Do you have any sort of structure in that way?
We tried to do that last year, but I think I was a bit distracted. You know this thing, when God is telling you something, you're trying to run away, dodging, but God keeps telling you, my daughter, go back to it, But for this year, we're going to give them like daily devotionals, We are creating like an email structure where we can follow up with them, send them daily devotionals and all of that, And we are going to get the parents involved. I intend to do so much. God has called me to do this, and I know that He's going to use me beyond what I can even imagine. I want these children, at the end of the day, let them know that their voice must be heard. Despite whatever is going on in the world today, you have to be yourself. You don't have to be like others. You need to believe in yourself. You need to make the right choices. You need to make the right friends. And you have to find Jesus for yourself. Because when you put Jesus at the center of it all, it makes everything beautiful. So they're definitely going to be followed, by God's grace.
Should I give you a movie recommendation?
Yes, sure, please. I would love that.
The Forge.
The Forge, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I hope I don't forget that.
I'm sure. While you were speaking, I was just remembering, thinking about The Forge. It talks about a teenager who, despite what his mother tried, prayers and everything, he wasn't just walking until he found, a senior mentor outside, which in this case,
they actually need mentorship.
And then got into a prayer group with other teenagers like himself. And before he was 21, he was already
you see,
into
that's why the Easter camp is very important, because they are meeting people live. It's not social media that you're seeing people living fake life and you want to be like them. But this is real life here. You're going to connect with other children, and we're going to get their email addresses so that we have like a follow-up. I love children. I can spend time with them, and I come down to their level, so I understand what they like. So that's why I'm bringing this young set of people for us to just encounter God, believe in God, find Jesus for ourselves, have fun. You know, it's beyond all the activities. It's making them find Christ for themselves. You understand? So, and I want these children, some of them in their homes, maybe they don't even really pray.
and
So
read the
let them
Bible.
be let God be the one that will use them to transform the home. You know, let them be a shining light, not just in their generation, in their homes. It could be with how they behave, kindness, love, with how they relate with other people. And God is going to help us.
Definitely he will. You can also introduce maybe accountability partners amongst them.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm doing that. In fact, some of our volunteers are actually, they're going to do that as well.
Okay, having talked about this event, you know, I'm not going to end this conversation without talking about you.
Oh.
I mean, I've just been, while you were talking and, you know, talking about the kids, talking about the program, I've just been thinking in my head, how do you balance it all? I mean, you have a thriving business, which by the way, I would say is so time consuming.
I know.
And very stressful. Yet you're able to make. Let me also add that I never added fashionista to her because I mean when I saw her this morning, I'm like, holy moly, okay, this is great. So how do you balance, you know, having a thriving event company and then also looking out for the kids, planning events, and also maintaining family as well? Ordinarily, one would say, oh, a busy woman like this. Oh, it's because she's still busy now, her picking just there anyhow. But in your case, it's not like that. How are you able to manage all of this together?
I think I have so much energy. Let me first start by saying that, and family is very, very important. For me, I put God first. My family and my business. I don't joke with my work. Like even my team, they know, like, if you call me to do a job, no matter how it is low, I must be there. I must be present. So what I do, I carry my family along. I make sure there's time for, because there's time for everything, really. Like for me, even on Sundays, I don't like to style parties because I must go to church with my family, and I love to spend that family time, you know. So what I do, for me, if the children are on holiday, I like to take my daughter, carry her along, you know, so that, I mean, and I'm a present mom. I must be present for the children, their entire activities. So everything, the event is centered around my work, God, family. So I try to carry the family along. I don't let it, you know, interfere. Because me, I can be at my venue from morning till night, but I have to draw the line and know that, you know. So when, that's why I don't like meetings from 4, 5. That was when the younger ones, my younger kids were still in school. Right now I have just Timothy, right? So as soon as he closes, I pick him from school. I try not to hold meetings after then. And you know, the home front, you have to make sure the home front is working before you can even do your job. And I have a husband as well to make sure the house is running very smoothly and effectively. And I mean, when you balance all of that, you see yourself doing so well in your business. For the fashion, I love fashion. I like to dress up. I like drama. I just like, in fact, what I wanted to wear here, if you saw it. But my assistant, Mrs. Akemini, messed me up because she's the stylist, you know. So he said, man, let me give you this nice thing, you know, you have the Rapid TV. We planned, you know where you're planning, but maybe God said, I don't want the drama. It'll be normal. But I don't think this is normal, though. This is still dramatic.
This, in fact, I need to make an outfit like this so that when I enter, they'll know I've come.
Yeah, I like it. That, you know, you're addressed the way you dress. You can't walk in. That's why I always tell my team, you can't walk into my meeting looking shabby. I'll walk you out. You need to look good. You know, I'm so keen on styling, looking nice. You know, it speaks well. People want to do business with someone looking well dressed. Nobody wants to do business with a poverty looking, you know. But it's all about packaging. You know, you have to package yourself well. You know, so I'm very keen on outward appearance. It might be dramatic, but I love it.
Yeah, in fact, in a place like in Abuja, it works magic.
Yes, it does.
Someone was telling me, he said, I was supposed to go somewhere, and she was like, this thing you want to wear, don't wear it.
Exactly.
If they are to price you 1 million, they will give you 250. I thought she was actually joking because I said, okay, I'm going to wear what you're suggesting. By the time I was coming down from the car, and they were like, is that the person we're expecting? They said, yes. They said, wow. are you sure we can afford this one?
No.
I loved it immediately.
Which is good, which is good. But I always encourage decency. You can never catch me wearing indecent. Cover up, you know. You don't need to show up everything before.
True.
So decently, but dramatic. There has to be some atom of drama.
Drama. Okay, so as we get set to wrap up, let's talk about 5 things that people don't know about you.
Oh my God. 5 things they don't know about me.
Yes.
5 things. I'm very shy. You forget all this one. I'm just covering up. Oh. That's number 1 thing. I'm very, very shy.
Okay.
I don't know if people know I am very emotional. I can cry. Hi. If you hurt my feelings like this, the way hey, Jesus, I'll cry. I'm very emotional. 5 things. They know I love children, so that one I can't even hide it. I love cooking. I love cooking. In as much as you see me styling parties, I have to package. You can't serve me a shabby food. It has to be packaged with, you see, the greens, the whole thing. Are you serving a king? I even spoiled. Yes, so I spoiled my husband at some point. If you serve him anyhow, you're like, no, because he knows that I love cooking. And what's the 4th thing? I love God. You know that one already. What's the 4th thing? I love Snickers, chocolate. I love Snickers. I like chocolate and all of that.
Okay.
5 things. You all know I like Fit Fam. I like exercising. So that's not 5 things you don't know. What's the next thing? Oh God, I can't. Well, I shout when I'm angry.
Oh, okay.
I shout. You don't want to see me when I'm angry.
Don't get angry.
But it doesn't last for too long. I have this forgiving heart, so as soon as I always find a way to balance it. Like especially my assistant, I like talking about her because when I harass her and finish, next thing she's still angry, and I'm like, I'll just say one thing and I'll try. You see us trying to smile, but she's still boning, you know. So I don't let the sun go down on my anger. I'm very forgiving.
Okay, so another question I have for you is, if you have $1 billion right now, what is the first thing you would do with it?
1 billion, I'll pay my tithe.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
yes. Oh, yes. 10%. I don't care about what people are saying now, but I'll pay my tithe. After I pay my tithe, then I'll do some sort of investment. And I'll go for vacation. I'll do holiday. And I'm going to shop because I love shopping.
Okay.
And I'll give my kids a treat and whoever is around me.
Okay. Yeah. I hope I'll be around you by then. So that I would partake from the largest. Yeah. Okay, so I think these are some of the questions I have for you. Although I still want you to send a clear message to parents who have not had the plans to get their teenagers and preteens involved in the forthcoming Easter event.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that? You can just speak to the
camera. For mommies and daddies that were not able to register this year, you know, it's actually a charity-based event. You know, it's a free event, and we're getting sponsors. Oh, I must really appreciate all my sponsors. They've been so amazing, because when I started, I didn't know how I was going to do. I was looking at 50 kids because it's, like I said, it's charity, you know. And I had over, I think we have like about 70 to 80 now. And I'm so sorry I couldn't take everyone. But believe me, next year, I'm going to put structures in place and I'll be able to accommodate more than 100. Because as I speak to you, I have a parent that said, oh, Bill, how did I miss this? Please, I'm really sorry I couldn't take everyone. But everything is going to be posted on our social media so your children could connect. And we're going to be live. So those that were not able to attend the camp, we're going to be able to connect and all of that. And I pray that your children, the ones coming, and I pray that your children will be impacted and they'll have a Christ-centered life at the end of the camp.
All right. And so there's this last question I have for you. Don't mind me. I have a lot of questions, but they are not something you cannot answer. So
I hope so.
You know, a mom actually reached out to me some time back, and I really didn't have the right words to speak to her. And so we can leverage on your presence to speak with her, because I know she will definitely watch this interview afterwards.
Nice.
She's been struggling with her daughter. So we all know the influence of peer pressure.
Yeah.
And so she's at that point, she's a single mom. She's at that point where she's just like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like it's very difficult. So what kind of word would you say to someone like that?
I'll tell her to keep praying. Don't give up on God, because for us mothers, you know, that thing they say, our mothers' prayers are working for us. You know, you have your needs. You have to pray and reconnect her to God and pray that she finds God for herself. You know, when all options are lost, you trust in God. He's the only one that can do it for you. I found God for myself. Forget the rules at home that our parents gave to us. I thank God that, I mean, my mom's prayer is working for me. I found God for myself. I had this personal encounter, and that's why my business is God's business. I put God at the center of it all. So just keep praying and trusting God. And if you need to, bring her closer to us, I mean, we could mentor her and all of that. And this is another advice for parents out there. You have to know the friends your children keep, because peer pressure, some of them don't have confidence. Some of them are easily swayed. Growing up, I had a couple of friends. I was able to choose the ones that will take me up to the top, and all of that. So we have to be very intentional. When you're raising godly children, you need to be sure of the kind of friends association. In the course of serving God, you're going to lose a lot of friends, but it's not important. So that's basically what I can tell them.
All right. I will say thank you so much
having me.
for coming on the show and, pouring yourself out. This one will say virtue has left you.
There's much more at the camp. I didn't want to tell all of you now. I saved it for our pre-teens and teens.
Now you make me want to ask you more questions.
No, don't ask. I'm shy.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Madam
Thank
Ugo,
you
for
so
coming,
much for having us.
for being a guest.
And thank you for sponsoring the camp, the 3rd edition. We really appreciate you. And thank you to all the sponsors. We appreciate you all.
All right. And this is where we'll wrap the curtain on the interview this morning. We'll go on a very short break. When I come back, I'm going to wrap up the show properly.
My name is
Ima Ehumadu, aka La Vista.
My name is DK, aka Mama Chinedu.
Keep watching Rapid TV.
You are watching Rapid TV.
Shout out to Rapid TV.
Hey, Rapid TV, Carigo.
The biggest, the finest, the only Rapid TV.
Rapid TV.
Yes, keep watching.
Don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial.
Keep watching Rapid TV.
This is me giving a rapid response to Rapid TV.
Time is power. Our lives are powered by the sun. As the sun rises, so do we. As we trust it to rise and set without any worries interrupting your morning with our hybrid all-in-one inverter, powering our prosperity and happiness. But also nurture what is dear to us, powering trust and support, empowering us to do things that really matters. Star Times Solar, power your life.
Are you missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live.
Caesar Radio.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umahia. On Instagram, it's official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to Rapid 96.5 FM or listen to us live on our website at www.rapidfm965.com or radiogarden.com.
Better yet, get our mobile app from the Google Play Store.
Catch the pulse of the Southeast on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city.
Hey, Oyanam, all Caesar Radio.